Hello gainers, welcome to my channel. My name's Ralphie and the channel is called Fitter Philosophy, and the purpose of the channel is to share a little bit of what I've learned in life with you to help make your philosophical approach to life that little bit fitter. And it doesn't tend to be particularly complicated, although it's certainly one of the habits of the human condition is to make life more complicated than it needs to be. But we can learn so much from simply looking at those around us and taking on board their experience to help moderate and enhance our own experience as we experience it. Yeah. And one simple little thing is making time and space for a little bit of peace and quiet. And a bit of peace and quiet may seem unnecessary, unimportant, something that you do when you can't think of anything else to do. But if you approach it pragmatically and positively, creating a little bit of space, and we only need 5 or 10 minutes, and we're not getting into the meditation side of things yet, although that in itself is a useful thing to do, but simply to give ourselves a few moments each day for some peace and quiet with ourselves is a very important thing. We see this reflected in people in religious orders and different religions around the world who go on retreat or take time out to have some solitary space, which can go on for an hour, a day, week, even months if you happen to be Buddhist. And the reason they do that is to connect with themselves, and we should all connect with ourselves. And it doesn't have to be particularly active. It's simply sitting down quietly without any interruptions. Even better if you happen to be a nice, peaceful, quiet environment, such as I'm enjoying at this moment in time recording this video for you. And just having that moment of peace and quiet where everything slows down and the vast white noise of the human environments in which we live is silenced for a few minutes. Because even when we're alone, we're still having a conversation, not necessarily using words, not necessarily speaking aloud, although we can do that, but thinking in our own minds in relation to ourselves. And that is a very important part of that little moment of peace and quiet where we connect with ourselves, uninterrupted, without the media, without other people, without the deluge of propaganda that we get through electronic media or newspapers or television. And we just relax a little bit and feel the presence of ourselves within our own lives. And we start simply with just a little bit of silence, but that doesn't last for long, because we start to notice what we're thinking, how our mind is drifting, what concerns us, what interests us, what bothers us, what makes us happier, what makes us sad, what causes us stress, what relieves that stress. It's all very singular and individual, and the best person to know about us and to advise us, to reassure us, to support us should always be ourselves, because we are all inhabiting inside our shell, and it is often the case that any misalignment, discord, anxiety or concerns or worries can arise when we are not comfortable within our own shell. And the body is the shell. The body is the shell of the spirit, of the soul, and of our temporal life in this planet. So in taking a few minutes for that peace and quiet, it gives us the opportunity never to be undervalued, never to be overestimated in any way, because it's a very valuable thing to do, is simply have that quiet few minutes on a regular basis, ideally daily, with ourselves, in silence, in peacefulness, so that we have peacefulness in our lives and we know how to measure it because we know what it is. And we just connect with ourselves in a deep, meaningful, and often a subconscious way, which enriches the value and the substance and the meaning of our lives. How do you do it? How do you go about it? Well, move away from other people. Move away from your own environment if you can do so. Or if you're stuck in the house, just find a quiet room and sit there. No distractions, no phones, no computer, no television, no magazine, no newspaper, no nothing. And just sit quietly in silence for 5 to 10 minutes. And you're not even getting to the meditation stage. That's different. But just start breathing deeply. Fill up your lungs. Get some fresh air in. And allow yourself to settle and calm down. And at this point, you may notice how agitated you are in the course of your daily lives. So it comes into focus. And you as a person will come into focus within that space and in that given and allotted time that you've presented to yourself, and connect a little more meaningful and a little deeper and a little more sympathetically. And once you do it a few times, 3, 4, 5 times, a dozen times, 30, 40, 50, 100 times, that is the point at which you start to fully understand the value and the benefits, the holistic benefits of what you're doing. It's something I do not every day, I have to say, because some days are quite busy, but on many days I just step aside, no people, get out the house, into the natural world, with the sun shining, that little bit of peace and quiet, which money can't buy, only time can buy it. And it makes time more meaningful. And if we can be comfortable inside our own skin more than we were yesterday and the day before, we're preparing ourselves to be even more comfortable and self-aware in the future when we continue with this practical, little, simple, free, uncommitted exercise of creating for ourselves a little bit of peace and quiet. And I'm going to leave you with the peace and quiet of this beautiful environment around me, with the birch trees and the grass. Usually there's sheep in this field peacefully grazing, but they're at higher pastures at the moment, perhaps where the grass is a little bit greener. But I'm going to leave you now with this landscape for about a minute, so that you can just focus on it and use it as inspiration for you finding your little bit of peace and quiet. I'm Ralphie. Thanks for watching.